Hi everyone, this is Ash here, and today I want to talk about voices, my experience with voices, and it leaves one question: voices, hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, the whole part of schizophrenia. When I reflect back at it and my experience, I'm left with a question: is it a friend or a foe? When it all began, it was obviously scary and unnerving and very, very, very uncomfortable. Uncomfortable um, is an understatement, of course. It's very disabling. But there was something that happened midway. I had very severe form of schizophrenia, and to the point where I had my life was limited to my room, my home, and I would not move out. And something changed for me amidst all this after 1 or 2 years of suffering. There was a very different voice that came up, a very gentle voice, a very clear voice that came up and said, "Hey, you can recover, just trust me and do as I say." And thus became my journey of listening to this voice and doing what it asked me to do. As long as I did not hurt myself or hurt others, it was all right. And it was a gentle voice, a sensible voice, caring voice, a male voice. So let me distinguish between the types of voices. The voices that I heard before that were very disturbing, were very random, would accuse me of things, would punish me, say awful things, judge me, and it was very scary. Hallucinations were about tsunami and how the ghosts of tsunami used to haunt me and hold me responsible for the death somehow. Um, there were many other instances. There was a lot of sexuality. The psychosis had a lot of feel of mix of religion and sexuality, and it was very uncomfortable to face all the things they were showing. A lot of them were abstract. A lot of them was something that I would say were not the truth, not my truth, but it was coming from within me. But when this gentle voice happened, something changed. With this gentle voice, it became sort of what we call a commanding voice. Or this was not commanding, it was a gentle voice that um, guided me with small things like, have you, I want you to eat now, I want you to go down, have a coffee, smoke a cigarette. Um, the way I benefited from it, one, I was able to, I had sort of like in the storm, or while I was drowning, I'd found a rope to hold on to. And by doing this, by following it, I was able to move out of my home and engage with neighbors. So it sort of benefited me a lot, gave me a lot of confidence socially. I was able to interact with people. But one of the most important things that happened by following this voice, I had only one rule. That was never to talk negative about myself and never to put myself down, and always walk it, walk out of schizophrenia through this. And what happened was, as the days went by, the other voices became gentler too, as if the leader had spoken to me and the leader had spoken to me gently, and all the other voices were like an orchestra for this. And They would be funny and they would be kind and they would be sweet, and a lot of them male voices, female voices. Even when I was working around this time during my recovery years, I was on a job and they would help me. They would help me relax. They would help me focus. They would, it was a very different experience from where I began. And over time, as I started to follow what the voices were asking me to do and use it for good, um, the voices disappeared completely. So did hallucinations, so did delusions, because the biggest factor was fear, the paranoia, which had come when things had just begun. And with the gentler voice coming in, the paranoia began to subside. When this paranoia and the fear of the voices began to subside, the voices became more friendly and they would disappear one by one as if their job was done. Sometimes I wonder, was this whole experience a part of a natural human psyche designed to protect itself? This the reason why psychosis happens is because somewhere we are weak inside and it wants us to wake up and try things and move, and sometimes they don't know how to do it. There's something I read. It's called Clair Audience, where they say the angels and the spirits speak to you and they get frustrated when you cannot understand them. This was something like that. But once I started to listen to them, and once they were gentler, I even I took the chance, since I was communicating with the voices. I took the chance to tell them, could you come one by one instead of coming all together and overwhelming me? And it worked. It would come one by one and never multiple voices. It sort of sorted itself out as if I had the choice to do that. And what happened was I was able to manage the instructions, I was able to manage the questions, the issues that came up. Like sometimes a voice would say, "Oh, you're no good," and then I would gently ask, "Why do you feel so?" And it would take me back to some episode in my life, and it would show me, and then it would apologize. It would say, "You're right. You're okay. You're all right." And I've seen the voices change. I've seen the voices talk, blame, and correct themselves. And in a way, there was a un, deep correction at an unconscious level within me, which brought a lot of recovery and healing because that voice had no purpose anymore but to help me. And once helped, it, and I did not need its help, it would go away. So I hope this sharing that I have with you leaves you with a positive note in your life if you're suffering from psychosis, which involve voices and hallucinations, including shadows. I've been I've taken my chances to even ask the shadows like, why are you here? And I was guided to know that these are basically the broken parts of our soul, right from childhood, right from early days in our life, or when our spirit was broken. Shadows are a reflection of those. And when I asked the shadows what they were doing here, what do they want from me, like a ghost whisperer, you could say, and it would bring in my mind that there was this something I wanted to do, but I did not have the guts to do it, or I was shut down or broken down when I tried to speak, and that broken life energy had become a shadow, and it had come back to life, hoping that I would bring it back to light. And by listening to it and by trying and reasoning and trying out what I wanted to do earlier, I feel it's all about finding your whole self, and a whole part of your personality includes shadows, which is the broken part of your spirit within you that you experience outside. And once you address it, It sees the light. You become a whole person. You become a fuller person. And it again, that's why I would like to come up with the question: is psychosis, is the voices, hallucinations, delusions, friend or a foe? To me, it all seems like it's a design of human psyche to protect itself and to nurture itself in unpleasant ways, because maybe sometimes our system needs a shock. And unfortunately, there are not many people who have tried to understand this phenomena and pass it off as take a pill and it will go away. And you never get down to really solving the issues. And yeah, I would like to leave you with that hope that maybe we could look at schizophrenia or psychosis from other mental illnesses in a new light as a part of ourselves that is trying to address something that is broken deep within us. That's all. Thank you.